Okay, so over the past few videos, I've shown you a number of different ways of filtering your data, and I showed you the little drop-down arrows that you get from the filter button. I've shown you how to do the advanced filter. I've shown you how to do the database functions that sort of act as filters to just total up a certain criteria. A number of different ways here, but this is relatively new. This thing I'm about to show you is what we call slicers. And slicers are, I think the best description would be visual filters. Okay? They're the ultimate, I think, in filtering and also conveying what you're filtering. We use these not only in regular data like this, but also in PivotTables. So PivotTables also will use this as well for the visual filtering. What I want to, I'll first of all show you what we're going to end up with, and I'll show you how it works, and then we're going to come back to here, and I'm going to show you guys then how to set that up. So here it is without much more fanfare. Click onto that. There it is. Okay. So if you notice, the data that we've got here is now kind of shifted over to the right. I kind of pushed it over here a little bit. It's been converted into a table, and I'll explain how we do that in a little bit. But you convert it into a table, and by doing that, it will allow you then to insert these, what we call slicers. All right? Without this being in table format, you will not be able to get these. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are unaware that they can use their slicers on just normal database list type data and not just on pivot tables. All right, so here's how it works. I've got a slicer representing a number of different fields. So you can have actually a slicer for every one of these columns or fields, all right? And you'll notice this first one for month. I've got month, I've got expense type, and I've got who the check was written to, all right? So let's say, for instance, now I want to see out of my list only those checks that were written in January, right? So all I have to do is click on to where it says January here, and there it goes. Now, what's great about this, not only does it show you visually, anybody looking at this with any common sense would say, oh, I guess we're looking at January data. Good, all right, that's good there. What I really like about it, though, is that if you've got other slicers, you know, for other fields, they will also start reacting. So what it really comes down to is that we pick January, and it turns out that the only types of checks that were written in January were maintenance, utilities, and meals. And you can see that out here, right? It's also showing you, because we also have a slicer for who it's to, it's showing you also the 4 people that we wrote the checks to in January. I think that's all we've got there. See, so that's pretty cool. All right. Now, if I wanted to see February and March as well, then what I would do is I'd hold down my control key, click on a February, click on a March, and then let go of my control key, and now I get a few more. So now that expands a little bit more. More expense types are brought in, and obviously more people that we wrote the checks to, that increases as well. And you can see that right there. What's kind of interesting about all this is that when you convert your database list in this case, into a table, it automatically puts the filtering in place. You can always go in and turn off the filter if you wanted to. You can always go to data and turn that off if you wanted to. But the point of the matter is, I mean, once we got the it all unfiltered here, but you could turn that off if you wanted to. But the point of the matter is that if I were to click on, if you look here on the month, it looks like the filter is in place, right? Well, obviously for month, the slicers representing the month field, we picked the 3 months here. Well, look at this. If I click onto the filter here, it shows then February, January, March. They're not in order here, but you can see that. So there's the 3 months, just like that. So we could have also come into here without even touching this and chosen those 3 months, hit OK, and then this would have ended up being highlighted and all this other stuff would have come in. So they work both ways. They work for each other on each end there. So pretty neat. Now, if you wanted to clear the filter, what you could do is you can go over here to the month, hit that little red guy there, almost like that little grill there, click it, and that clears that off. All right. Now, you'll see over here, these look like they might be inactive, but they're not. There's nothing that's being filtered. It's really just that one that's really causing it. Now, on the other hand, if I said, well, I want to see out of all the checks I wrote for the year 2020, I want to see just the legal one. So I click on the legal, and there they are. And I only wrote legal checks back in March, May, September, November, December. That's pretty cool. And those were the 3 companies I wrote the checks to involving legal. Pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty straightforward in how it works. Okay, so I think we're good there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reset the filter. So I'm just going to go back there and click onto, oh, is it not working here? Oh, I'm hitting the wrong one there. This is where I actually started from. So this one right here, I clear that. There we go. All right, so there we go. So our next step is, how the heck do you make this happen? All right. So we're going to go back to our original worksheet, and we're going to convert this into a table. That's the first thing we need to do. So you click anywhere in it, you go to Insert, you click on a table, hit OK, and now it's a table. That's it. All right. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to insert, well, actually, I'll tell you what, we'll do it on the right side here. So on this one, we had it on the left. I'm just going to make it easy and put it on the right. So we're going to put all of our slicers over here. So the first slicer that I want to put in there is for month. All right. So while we're on here, we're in a table, technically. We have Table Tools, Design, Insert Slicer. So we click onto that. And this gives us all of our fields and, of course, the possibilities of having slicers on all of them if we wanted to. We're going to start out, we'll just do the ones that we need. We're going to bring in the month, we're going to bring in the expense type, and we're going to bring in the to. Okay, who it's to. There we go. So once we've done all that, we'll hit OK. All 3 of them come in there. We'll go ahead and we'll put the month over here. So here's what I want to do here. We're going to do the month. I'll move those over, get them out of the way here for now. So I'll take this. I'm going to click onto it, all right? I'm going to make it a little bit wider, like this, all right? And then what I'm going to do is, because I'm on the slicer now I've got the slicer tools, and in the options tab is the number of columns that I want to have here. Now right now I just have 1. Well, watch this. I bring this up to, let's say, maybe 6 columns, just like that. That means that I can take this, pull it up, and I can, in essence, create kind of like a dashboard type of look by just playing around with this stuff. So now the next one we'll do the expense type. I'll put that one underneath here. So there it is. If you're a perfectionist, you're going to be really in trouble here, because you're going to say to yourself, I got to get it lined up just right. I got to get the color just right. I got to get the size just right. I got to get the columns just right. You'll be, you're going to be hopeless in here. Okay. So just warning you. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll make that one pretty much the same width there. And then I'll see what I can do here with the columns. There's 2 columns. There's 3. There's 4. It's not too bad. Yeah, we can get away with that one. They don't need to be fully displayed. I think most people would know that means other supplies or whatever, office supplies, whatever. Okay, so we're good there. We'll go ahead and bring this up. And then our last one's going to be the to, who we're writing the checks to. We'll bring that over. We'll go ahead and make this wider. And on this one, I'm just going to scroll down just a little bit here. if I give it any number of columns, I can pretty much do that. If I go with any more rows, it's not going to really matter. I'd have to do really more of the width. But if I bring this down to maybe 2 columns, then I can go ahead and bring this down like that, and then I've got it. So there we go. So that looks pretty good. Now, aside from, you know, resizing and positioning and all that, getting the columns in there, you can go to each one of these, and in the options here, you can pick a color. So I want maybe that to be orange. I want this to be gold. Maybe this one to be green, that type of thing. We also have a second layer, or second row here, a little bit darker color. So if you want this to be really, a dazzling red, this one to be a dazzling yellow, all right? That looks pretty nasty. We'll do blue. And this one here, we'll make that a dazzling green. There we go. I kind of like the other colors better, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So there it is. We're done. So now, like you saw earlier, I can sit there and say, okay, I want to see October, and then Control key, November, December. Let go of the Control key. There they are. So the last quarter of the year, these are the areas, and I say, okay, now out of that, I want to see just my advertising. So I'm not advertising. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to use my Control key and kind of click. I screwed that up. Hit undo here. Okay, use my Control key and kind of click onto the ones that I don't want. So I want to get rid of those. I want legal. I got rent and maintenance. I want to keep those. So I'm going to get rid of travel, utilities, and office. And then when I let go of my Control key, then it does that. So there's all different ways you can do this, but overall, what somebody that's looking at this, just like I was talking about when we were doing that advanced filter, somebody can look at the data and say, well, okay, what am I looking at? It looks like I'm looking at the last quarter of the year. It looks like I'm looking at these particular expense types, and I can see who the checks were written to. So pretty neat stuff. And then again, you can go back in here and you can clear out the first filter, clear out the second filter, and we have nothing to do with the third one. So that's it. So now we're back to square one. All right. And by the way, too, if there's, for some reason, you want to get your table back to being not a table any longer, just being just a database list, well, what you can do is you'll click anywhere in the table. You'll go back to your Table Tools Design and tell it that you want to convert it back to a range. So you click onto that. It says, you sure you want to do this? I say yes, and there we go. And of course, because now it's no longer a table, I can no longer have my slicers. So that's about it. So hopefully you can start using this as well. Take care. I appreciate you watching the video.